Hi, my name is Traci Hendrickson. I'm the Community Relations Director here at Mount Dora at Certus Premier Memory Care. So how I got into memory care is quite unique. It's the one thing I can thank the pandemic for. My company went work at home and I was in charge of 30 people in a call center, and it was no longer a fit for me because I like to be around people. And I thrive in a work environment, so I had the credentials for this job, and it posted at 3 a.m. in the morning, and I saw it go off, and I'm like, that sounds like something I want to do, only because I love elderly, always have. I have a passion for memory care because my father has a diagnosis of mild cognitive impairment, so I might be in these people's shoes someday having to place families. I just went for it, and that's how I landed the job of my life. What I enjoy about working with memory care is probably the relationships that I build with the families and seeing how helpful our programming is, where I can give them their role back as a wife, a sister, a daughter, a mother, and they're no longer caregivers and they can actually enjoy their loved one through their journey of dementia. Why I think Certus is on the cutting edge in premier memory care is a couple different things. It starts at the top. I love the fact that we personally know the owners of the business and that they have a true passion to help families that are dealing with family members with dementia and Alzheimer's. We put a lot of thought and effort into everyday living for these residents, and we offer premier care. Our residents are clean, they're happy, they're loved on, they're thriving, and you just see it when you walk through the building. And I know that it's a hard decision to make, but I feel very comfortable with the products that we provide and the care that we provide to our loved ones. So one of the biggest successes I've seen multiple. It's hard to really talk about one, but I have one that pops into my head. And that one situation was sad at the moment because the loved one's family lived away, and there was just the husband and wife here. And the husband was no longer able to care for his wife, and she was getting out of the home, and she was angry at him and becoming violent with him, which was not her nature at all. And he didn't know what to do. So his daughters said, please call 911, Dad, and get her safe. And in the meantime, during that process, the daughters were calling me saying, I found you online. We're taking a red-eye flight from Canada, and one lived in Alaska. We'll be there tomorrow sometime. Hopefully they won't discharge her because she can't go home. So the next morning, the husband came in to see the place before the daughters got here. He looked exhausted. He was in tears. His color looked bad. He had bruises on him. He just was so distraught. He didn't know what to do. I felt so terrible for him, and I just reassured him that, we'll go visit Mom at the hospital, and if you like the community, we'll work on getting her discharged to us while your daughters are getting here. And once the placement happened, it was a huge adjustment for both him and her both. And of course, it takes a while for them to get acclimated to their environment and owning their new suite as their own space. So that's a process. We really just held that family's hand from the beginning for the first 40 days. She's thriving here. She's beautiful. She looks great. He just looks like a different person. He has colors better. He volunteers here now. He's a huge part of the Certus family here at Mount Dora, and it was just a wonderful thing to see. So when I'm working with our families, I feel like one of the hardest parts for them, or the pieces for them, for one, it's such a stressful situation when you think it's time, but knowing when it is the time, and because nobody wakes up and says, let's go put Mom in memory care today. So something has had to happen. Something is triggering the search. And them knowing when the right time is, there's so many choices out there, what the process is, how, and they might be in a rush situation where it's a more emergency placement, so they don't have a lot of time for it to sink in. And then I always tell them, there's always gonna be that feeling of guilt, no matter if you know it's the right time, because Mom never wanted to be put in a nursing home, so you have all these things that you feel guilty about, even though you're making the right decision for them. That feeling of guilt is just a trying time for every family. I always tell them, and then as soon as you've made the decision, you're ready to go, and we're packing and we're getting ready to move in, she's probably gonna have 2 or 3 fabulous days where you're questioning your decision. And I think that's just so hard for them. And then getting here and then leaving them and walking out, because we ask them to stay away for 2 or 3 days just so we can get them acclimated in case the loved one is a trigger. So that, and usually if they trust the process, it's very successful. Every family has a different dynamic, so it doesn't always work that way, but we see a lot of success in that. But the piece of making that decision is at the right time, the process of the move-in, and then leaving them here is a very stressful, emotional time for that family. One of the things that it's almost every single time when we place a family, we tell them to trust the process, and once we get them acclimated and they're thriving, most every family will come up to me and like, gosh, I wish I would have done this sooner, because I can't do what you guys do for her, for the socialization and keeping them symptom-free so they can enjoy their journey. Our mission statement here at Certus is making memory care better. How I make memory care better every day is helping families. And when I say helping families, I'm giving them a solution to give them their role back as a loved one. And I mean that with the bottom of my heart, because they will end up being able to be happy again and be a daughter or a husband again. So making memory care better to me every day is helping families with treating the symptoms of dementia so they can have some quality time during the loved one's journey.